welcome to Drive-Thru Reviews, if that's what I'm calling it. Driving reviews. I'm in the car, and we're waiting to be able to clock in for the day, so I decided to take this time to talk about a movie I saw. I saw The Dark Tower, and I don't think it deserved the amount of flack it's been getting. Most of the complaints that I've read was that the movie doesn't explain concepts to you, but I didn't really feel lost at any point during the movie. I have to say that I didn't read the books. I just know that, they are books, and that they connect all of the Stephen King universes together, that they're all connected via this series of books. So I went in knowing that much and close to nothing else other than the very low Rotten Tomatoes score, and I took notes during this film. I noticed that the director was Nicolas Arcel, and he wrote the screenplay for Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and he also directed A Royal Affair, which some of us have never seen, but if you're a fan of Mads Mikkelsen, he's in that movie. When I saw this, there were about 20 people in the audience, which is, it's a pretty small audience. That's about, 10% of the whole theater. And the main, child actor is alright. He plays a kid named Jake, and through the whole movie, he has just messy-ass hair. That's the second movie in a row where the child in the movie has just gross hair throughout the movie. Which I can understand when Jake is going through all these different dimensions. Sure, he's not going to have time to comb his hair, but even when he was living normal life with his mom in New York City, his hair was, disgusting. And no parent would let their kid walk around with messy-ass hair. Other than that, the guy from the Allstate insurance commercials that says, "Are you in good hands?" is in this movie, and he dies after, a minute that he's in the film. I wish he did more as, a character. He's, Idris Elba's character's father. And that's all you get to know about him. He was his dad, and he dies. And that was slightly disappointing. You know that Idris Elba and his father are these guys called gunslingers, and they protect this dark tower that keeps evil from entering the universe. But as we could see from Stephen King's other novels, that, there's still a bunch of evil stuff, so maybe this tower isn't all it's cracked up to be. Jake has this ability called the Shine, which is, we've all seen The Shining, so it's the same ability that Danny has in The Shining. He's able to telepathically communicate with people if he focuses hard enough on it, and this is a trait that's especially valuable to Matthew McConaughey in the movie, who plays the Man in Black, or as the Idris Elba likes to call him in the movie, Walter, which is a lame-ass name for a bad guy. I guess it kind of humanizes him that he has, this normie name. Idris Elba also plays the gunslinger whose real name is Roland, whose name is slightly cooler, but not that much cooler than Walter. You could tell that clearly Walter and Roland used to know each other, considering Walter was the one that killed Roland's father early on in the film. So they probably have a history. Roland is said to be immune to Walter's mind control tricks that he demonstrates throughout the movie, which I thought was cool, that he could make somebody suffocate and die by just looking at him and saying, "Stop breathing." I thought that was a pretty cool aspect, and he did it plenty enough times, but not too much where it didn't ever feel not cool that he was doing it. It was cool every single time he killed somebody just by saying, "Oh, go die," and they did. So that was pretty cool. Pennywise is referenced as there was this abandoned theme park in the woods that they go to, and there was a giant metal sign that said Pennywise, and I was like, oh, it's an It reference, cool, and nothing else came of it, unfortunately. Jake's mother is probably the worst mom in the world with the worst boyfriend. Jake's father had died in a mysterious explosion, and with Jake seeing all these visions, it's cracked up to him, grieving his father, but in reality, he has the shine. I wish they did more with the father, other than 5 minutes of manipulation and nothing else. I guess that's kind of another It reference. When they're in the Abandoned Woods theme park, a demon disguises himself as Jake's dead father and, like, holds his hand out and says, "Come here, Jake." Kind of same deal, same kind of demons we're dealing with. And Jake's mom is played by the same actress, Catherine Winnick. She was Lagertha in Vikings, which is a show that I thoroughly enjoy, that I never thought that I'd get into, but man, Vikings on, I believe it's the History Channel, good show, check it out. At one point there's a really bad CGI tarantula that Idris Elba kind of pokes around to explain what the Dark Tower does and how it protects the universe from evil demons, and then he picks up this tarantula out of nowhere and it just kind of scuttles around over to this stick that Idris had put in the ground representing the Dark Tower. And I was like, oh man, they could have gotten like a real tarantula, like that's a thing you can do. It was just really bad CGI. I mean, the rest of the movie had alright effects, but this was especially like, what were you trying to achieve? They mention in the movie that Roland is a descendant of King Arthur, and that his guns are forged from the metal of the sword Excalibur. Do they ever mention that again? No, they just kind of said it to like sound cool. The action is okay. I've noticed some people dying when Idris didn't quite point the gun exactly at the person he was trying to shoot. They could have done a couple more takes to like make sure, but it's like, oh, the guy on the left died, but Idris was pointing over here, but the guy was over here, and he went, ugh. So that could have been cleared up a little more. Walter is defeated kind of easily. Like, the whole movie, Idris is making, like, shots at him, but after being, I don't know, kind of guilted back into being a gunslinger by Jake later on in the movie, he's like, oh yeah, I'm a gunslinger, I'm really good at guns, and then he shoots, Walter in the head and in the body a few times, and he gets good. Which was really disappointing, because the whole time we see Walter just pluck Roland's bullets out of the air, and he's like, oh, try me, bitch. So that was a bit, disappointing in ending. I mean, sure, he, like, rediscovered himself, but they could have, like, made his struggle a little more evident in the movie. Like, you see him be a badass through this whole movie, and then suddenly, oh, he's now good enough, but he's been good enough to live through the whole movie. Which is another problem. He kind of struggles with living the whole movie. He mentions early on when he's attacked by these weird vine things in the Abandoned Woods theme park, and it, like, infects him, and Jake's like, oh, you're bleeding, you're hurt, and Idris is like, I heal fast, don't worry about it, kid. But we never see him heal fast, so was he just, like, lying to make sure this kid's okay, or does this fantasy scenario, like, hold some like water to it, you know? I was a bit disappointed we never got to see him heal real fast. We just kind of saw him lie and then have to drag himself through the rest of this movie, getting more and more infected from the single wound. Oh, they never go to the Dark Tower, the titular Dark Tower that they've been playing up, that they have to protect, that the gunslingers are sworn to protect. They never go to it. Walter's goal is to tear down the Dark Tower and let the demons in because he's an evil wizard or something. But at no point did they ever, like, oh, Jake, we have to go to the Dark Tower to protect it. They don't, like, go there. So I was, like, really, really disappointed that we didn't get to go look inside the Dark Tower that the movie's named after. So, ending thoughts about the movie. It was fine. I mean, it tried to set itself up, I think, to be like a franchise. They left the ending open to make a sequel by Idris Elba promising Jake to teach him how to be a gunslinger. I'm sure the book does a far better job by explaining and going on. I mean, it's a series. It's his, basically, Lord of the Rings. It's Stephen King's Lord of the Rings, which is what I've heard. I haven't read the book again. I didn't feel lost. They could have made a sequel, but considering how bad the critics are taking this movie, I doubt it'll ever happen, which is fine. It ended at a point where I could just let it die. I didn't regret seeing this movie. I thought it was cool enough to keep me engaged, but after thinking about it for a while, I could see the little plot holes and flaws in the movie. Idris's talent was kind of wasted, and we know what he can do, what he's capable of with the other films he's been in, and this felt kind of like a paycheck. He wasn't really making an effort in this film. So I'm going to give this movie a 5 out of 10, which I think is very generous. I didn't feel lost watching this film. There's plenty unexplained, I guess, that didn't have to be explained. I was never like, oh, I wish I knew more about this thing. I just kind of said, it's a movie, and I watched it. And that's about it. See you next time.